All right. Well, hey, as we said it, just getting a little past the top of the hour, so let's kick it off here. Don't need you guys staring at this mug for too long. So yeah, let's get into it. Hey, thank you guys again for joining us. Really excited coming at you, obviously right in the middle of it, in the heat of it, some would say, or in some other cases, obviously maybe a little bit in the wet of it. You know, there's been a wild year, but we're really excited as a team here. Lagos bringing it to you, having our mid-season check-in, really a round table, full team, full panel coming at you. We're going to be touching a little bit of everything, starting from the south and the east and working all our way across the west. So, for those of you who haven't joined us before, we'll give you a little bit of a preview here, as well as what Lagos and what we're doing at the company with our polymer Soltellus. So let's get right into her. Thank you again for everybody that's able to make it. Boy, we've got a great set of videos that we currently have up on our YouTube page. If you got your camera out right now, take a pic here, screen it, and we'll bring you over there. I think there's a good handful you'll see from past webinars that you'll get a lot of enjoyment out of. Maybe learn a thing or two. I know I certainly have from the team or partners that we've done with. Who all do we got here joining with me? So again, let's get this ugly mug off the face of the screen as quick as we can. Really excited to bring the full Lagos team at you here with agronomy. So as I mentioned, working our way from the south and the east all the way across the west. We've got Frankie Montalvo, who comes as our Southeast Regional Sales Manager out of Tallahassee, Florida. Moving all the way across the board from the top to the bottom, we'll go over to Katie next. Katie Patterson is out of Kansas for us, Netawaka, Kansas. Also similar to the Midwest region, we've got moving a little bit more east again, Niles McGuire. Niles McGuire out of Germantown, Ohio, and then working our way into the west as a regional sales manager. We've also got Eric Smith joining us from Chowchilla, California. I cannot certainly leave out my agronomist here, head agronomist, Nick Vandervoort, Cresco, Iowa, right in the middle of it for us. A lot of weight with this team, over 100 years combined experience. I think that's pretty easy to say just looking at the group here. Myself, Nick Spoden, Senior Director of Agronomy. Again, really appreciate you guys joining us and looking forward to get into it. All right, give you a little bit of a background quick onto the company before we really get into the meat and the fun stuff, what we're all here for in the first place, right? So, who is Lagos? What are we doing? And what are we here for essentially today? We're a sustainable specialty chemical company that's accelerating the transition to high performing, more sustainable solutions. So you can see it right there in our vision and mission. We're here to create biodegradable polymers that are going to be tailored for diverse applications. Those applications ranging from agronomy and agriculture, as we're here to discuss today, going to home care as well as personal care. We have got a very integrated supply chain, some of the best in class partners that I can possibly imagine working with. That's going to ensure an efficient and a cost effective delivery for you as we continue to scale up as a company and launch commercially here. Essentially looking to meet your brands, your performance, and your sustainability goals over time. How are we doing that? By replacing some of those persistent chemicals that we're all familiar with ultimately superior alternatives. Lagos, as you can see, and hopefully that you're going to see more today, we're driving measurable environmental as well as operational results. So yeah, I'm not going to bore you guys too much longer. Like I said, let's get into the fun stuff here. We're going to jump straight in with my colleague Nick Vandervoort's going to give you a little bit more on what Soltellus is all about. Nick.
Great. Okay. Well, I got to give some kudos here. First off, I'm out in Fresno, California right now, and the folks at Lang Research and Consulting have been kind enough to let me borrow or take over their conference room for this webinar today. And you'll see why I need this kind of a space rather than trying to do this out in the field with maybe spotty internet. So my role here today in this is to kind of showcase what Soltellus is and how it works. Okay. But I want to backtrack for just a moment. So if you've been on any of our past webinars or seen us at trade shows or in field days, and Nick just said it, we have this product that is a polymer. Okay. And when I got here 7 months ago, I thought, does everybody understand what a polymer even is and how it can have application out in agriculture? So I'm a prop guy and I like coming up with things that just showcase um, a picture's worth 1,000 words kind of a thing. So I've got this really high-tech prop called a chain. All right. So bear with me for a minute as I kind of work through this. So everybody knows that A chain is made up of these individual links. Okay. An individual link has pretty low utility. Okay. The magic happens when you take those links and you bind them together. Okay. So a chain is a great representation of what our polymer is. This is obviously a much bigger scale. Ours is microscopic or under. You can't see it with the naked eye. But the concept of a chain is equivalent to the concept of a polymer. In our case, our Soltellus polymer, the links are made up of a compound, a molecule called aspartate, and it's derived from aspartic acid, which is a naturally occurring amino acid out in nature. It's in our own bodies. Okay. That individual link, when you polymerize it or you bind multiple ones together, you come up with the Soltellus polyaspartate, multi-aspartate polymer. Okay. So you just graduated from Polymer 101 school. If you understand a chain, you understand a polymer. Okay. And so now I want to get down to the nitty gritty on our Soltellus polymer. The first thing you need to understand is that our polymer is negatively charged. It's called anionic. All right. They say opposites attract. Well, maybe not in human communication, but certainly in our polymer, it's absolutely true. And so, what are we attracting? What are we holding on to? We want to hold on to positively charged nutrient ions. So, that could be, for instance, an ammonium ion, okay? Or it could be an iron ion, or it could be an aluminum ion, or potassium ions, okay? And so it holds on the polymer because that negative charge holds these positive cationic nutrients. Okay. It does that because this polymer has a cation exchange capacity of 100. That's much greater than the soils that we're applying this to. And so not only does this capture nutrients from fertilizer granules, it can pull them from the soil and be that holder or that chelator of choice in the root zone that we're applying this to. Okay. Now, once you have these positives on this polymer, there's a phenomenon called ion bridging. And so these can attract negatives. Okay. Phosphate, sulfate, nitrate. So this polymer has the ability to capture, hold, chelate, and supply nutrients, all the nutrients that you're applying in fertility that are in your soil that are specific and needed for crop production are all kind of held around this polymer. Okay. Not so tightly, though, that the roots of the plant can't pull these off and utilize them. Okay. That's why we refer to our polymer as the hub of ion exchange in the root zone. Okay. So a chain is a perfect analogy to our polymer, and the negative charge is really, really important, the key to the activity. Last thing I want to share is our polymer is 100% biodegradable. Okay, its half-life in the soil, 28 to 45 days. By 90 days, the microbes in the soil have broken this thing completely down to its components, which is basically carbon and nitrogen. That enhances the soil. That's the underlying sustainability message of this polymer. Okay, there's no microplastics, there's no residues, no baggage. Okay, so the fact that we're negatively charged and we're biodegradable with a great underlying sustainability story is what sets us apart and makes this product totally unique in crop production today. It also greatly enhances the value proposition for the grower. Okay. That's our polymer, the overview. I think we're going to go to the sales reps now, hear about how this product's working this season in different crop segments across the country. And I believe, Nick, we're going to start with Frankie, correct?
You got it, Nick. And I mean, yeah, if there's a school that you want to graduate from, I feel like that was the lesson right there. That was the class. So thank you so much for sharing that, Nick. Frankie, let's get into the good stuff, right? What have we been seeing in the fields? Why don't you talk us through some of the stuff here? We'll pull up some of the pictures, obviously, that you've been looking at, and that way you can talk a little bit more in depth on them.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks Nick and also Nick V and Nick S. We've got Nick squared just in front of me, so I've got a tough act to follow. But just by way of introduction, my name is Frankie Montalvo, and like Nick said, I live in Tallahassee, Florida. I'm originally from South Florida. I was in the Belle Glade area a long time. I've been in the industry about 15 years. And for those who know that area, we were a big sugarcane, sweet corn, snap beans, all those sort of things. And so, that's where I was and have been doing biologicals basically all my career at this point. And so my role as a regional sales manager is to support both our growers and our partners in the field and try to find ways to get Soltellus on every acre and make it find the best ways to do that regardless of which crop it is. So jumping right into it, the pictures Nick had put up here, I went and visited a grower in North Alabama in Athens, about half an hour west of the Huntsville area, and it had just been the night before a really bad storm, torrential downpour. And you can see in the pictures that the farm looked a bit more like a ravine than a cotton farm at certain areas. So they had some really challenging weather conditions. And then I reached back out to the grower. He reached back out to me, and he sent me these pictures. And all of a sudden, we were pretty pleased. Got these pictures and spoke with him. And he had done a trial with us. He did a trial with Soltellus and put it out at a quart per acre at Pinhead Square. He had some thrips, so it went with a thrip insecticide, just speaking to the flexibility of how we were able to use the product. And in some of our cotton trials, we've tried it in furrow, some we've gone 2x2, some we've gone foliar. So we've really gone at all stages on cotton and really excited about what we've had on it so far. And so the grower, Sean, he told us, he thinks our product, Soltellus had a lot to do with it, and that he saw a very noticeable difference where it was sprayed and ended up ordering more product. So, it's great to get those sort of phone calls, of course, but seeing these pictures and having been on that farm just 2 months ago, I made we saw a tremendous difference, and we were very fortunate, and the grower was very blessed to have made it out of that storm looking like the cotton he's had there, and so we're looking forward to getting those results back. We're also working obviously on cotton, but this year in the Southeast, we're also doing trials on peanuts, corn, soybeans, sugarcane, golf course, nursery, and ornamentals. We're a little bit late in the year for some of the vegetables that go on down in Georgia and Florida, and this is Florida works a little bit backwards. This is almost like the winter time for the rest of the country in Florida, just because we're too hot to grow much of anything. And as we work into the fall and into early 2026, we'll be doing trials on cucumber, sweet corn, peanuts, sugarcane, corn, soybeans, tomatoes, bell peppers, golf courses, nursery and ornamentals. So add strawberries to that list. I didn't put it on my list. And we're working on trying to get more product out there, find the best fit for it, and what we've really seen so far. And really the grower in North Alabama, Sean can speak to it, is we get a very good start with a crop, especially when we put it out early. And we see it both in terms of just the visuals as well as we've seen some early vigor data that's looked pretty good. Anytime we put it in furrow or in 2x2 or an early application, we've seen a lot of success getting the crop up out of the ground and established quickly. And you hear often that how you start is how you finish. I'm a firm believer in that. And so to me, I think the best fit for Soltellus is to start it early and then get another application on it. 4 or 5 weeks later, I think is about the sweet spot for us. Next. And so, obviously, Florida, we have the opportunity to work with some pretty unique things. I don't expect many of our corn growers that Nick deals with up in the Midwest to have cat palms or aglaonema in their farms. So, this is a little bit of an interesting one that I looked at. Went and visited this nursery a couple weeks ago. Put the product out on cat palms and the aglaonema, And right now we're starting to see some early good results, but that was only at a week in from application. So looking forward to seeing more of that as well. And the this went out in a drench spray at a quart per 100 gallons. So we're looking at different ways of applying this product on different crops all over the country. Next. One other place that we've put it out is on sugarcane. That's actually my sugarcane down in South Florida near Pahokee. And It's 1201 is the variety. It all looks pretty good right now. And just to try to get a good idea of what it looked like across the farm, we put it out at a quart foliar with other nutrients and ended up having the applicator do both a double pass and a check pass just so that we you could get a good idea of what it looked like. Just one thing I'll wrap up with is I've been messing with the product at home too, and ended up getting some pretty good cucumbers after I applied some of it too. So feel free to, if you got any on your farm, use it in your house too. And thank you, everybody. And I'm gonna kick it over to Katie in Kansas, who's gonna talk a little bit about her area and the success we. Oh, sorry, we're going to Niles in Ohio rather, and then we'll go to Katie. Niles.
No, all good, Frankie. Thank you. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Niles McGuire. I reside in Western Ohio, and I cover the Midwest for Lygos. So, I really wanted to showcase today a lot of the flexibility and the variety of applications we have, because I definitely don't have the variety of crops that Frankie has to showcase. So I really want to show off the variety of applications we can do. So I just want to start off with some really fun stuff that we were seeing early on, early stages in this crop in furrow here. We've had some ranges anywhere from 1 to 2 quarts in furrow. This is central and western Iowa right here. So we were pulling these out V3, some were V4, and just seeing tremendous root development really early on and pretty quickly, and seeing that center root really growing that much faster. And that, we're really setting up that corn plant for a really strong beginning early on. And that's what we're looking for. So we were seeing wider leaves, longer leaves. Some of that I'm sure is variety dependent. But yeah, these are just a few of the things that we were really seeing, and really exciting to see this early this early on. So this is central Illinois and northern Illinois. On the left there, the right side was treated, left side was untreated with some live biology. We really like to showcase that we can really extend or promote and enhance live biological products that are very popular in the marketplace. With our polymer and how our polymer works, we can really help hold those nutrients that some of those biologicals are helping enhance and promote or fix or release in the soil, and then we can help hold them in place. And then as we start to break down, that biostimulation second phase of our product really starts to kick in, and we can extend the life of some of that, right? So just again, just more fun results that we're seeing in the field here in furrow. This is a third one in furrow in central Indiana as well. So this was a fun one that we just recently went and looked at. Ears of corn were there, so we did some yield checks and some yield, just as for fun. Obviously, nothing was filling out yet, but pollination had been started, and so we were seeing just consistently healthier corn, deeper roots. So from the side picture on the far right, you can see that we were increasing that root depth. Really, that density in the center of that root ball and just overall root hairs have been tremendous gains in those. And we just did some quick ear counts and did some fun little things here, some calculations. And the first variety was pretty solid and consistent at 14 rows around, probably a variety thing for that corn. And the other variety wanted to flex a little bit more on the rows around, and we were able to really push that one a little harder. But either way, we were able to increase a little bit of length and consistency on that hybrid that didn't want to flex so much around, and on the other one we were able to push it more around and in length both. on what we felt were pretty representative samples. So those numbers, a plus 16 bushel and a plus 42 bushel, those are, to be continued, but they're fun to see when we're out in the field and doing these walks, right? So it's just fun to see the potential of what could be. And we'll definitely follow this one to the end and see where it comes out at. So then this one was foliar. So we're kind of changing gears to a different application. This is one of them on my farm here. We had done so this is some tougher ground, some light clay. We did a quart and a half at V4 to V5 with some fungicide and herbicide here. We were seeing the more consistent stand as far as and some better height as well as that increased root ball and root strength that we were seeing, just more fine root hairs and overall just a healthier looking crop, right? So we're getting a lot of looks at foliar, and we kind of had a late year this year in a lot of the areas that we were doing some foliar stuff. So we'll be pulling a lot more here in the next couple of weeks too, once we get into that 1 month applied mark and seeing how they all look. Go ahead and switch. And here is side dress. So, we've gone from in-furrow to foliar. Now we're talking side dress and wide drops. Back in Ohio and south central Ohio and on the western side of the state, the pictures to the left were wide drops. Really nice dirt, really good ground in that south central Ohio area. And after 3 weeks applied, we were already seeing gains in that root structure and just overall plant health. Everything just looked really, really good. The one on the right was a center colder, and yeah, we were seeing some more consistent stands there, or what we felt like we were seeing some more consistent stands, and we saw some root gains there as well. So we have some stuff that's really showing up really well, and we're excited to follow it through to the end and see what it comes out as. And then we're going to switch gears here to some foliar soybeans. So these pictures on the left, my apologies, I didn't get them labeled. Meant to. The far left is untreated, and the picture in the middle is treated. What we're trying to show here is kind of hard to show in pictures. Was we were actually canopying the treated portion of those 30-inch rows a lot sooner than we were in the untreated. Um, so we were building more branching and just more foliar growth in that soybean by closing those 30-inch rows off quicker than in the untreated, where you could still see down the rows of those beans. So all in all, we were seeing deeper tap roots, more nodules, um, more fine root hairs. A lot of fun stuff to see on these soybeans as we try to put together a pretty good soybean crop in that neck of the woods. So. And here's some more that we have done. Obviously, the one on the left, we wish we had a side by side. That was a whole field treated, but those were narrow row beans, and the grower just sent us that picture because he was excited to see what he was seeing with the amount of root growth and the fine root hairs and all the branching that they were seeing, especially in narrow rows. So that's kind of branching you get in a wide row pretty often, but they were very excited about what they were seeing. So on the right is actually another one from my farm, where we were doing, we did a split application, and we've had a lot of guys doing that on soybeans this year, a split application, a quart early and then a quart later in season. So we did a quart, stalk digester, living biological stalk digester across the whole field, and then a quart with that stalk digester in the burn down, and then a quart at post herbicide. And we felt like we went out and got pretty similar plants in stature, and what we saw underneath the ground was tremendously different, and seeing much, much more of that tap root in those root hairs, and just a much healthier plant that's going to carry through these later stress months much better than the untreated on the left. So go ahead and next. And we also are doing some wheat. So stay tuned. We're getting ready to get all the data from this. We did some extensive fall wheat applied trials. So we actually kind of stuck our neck out there a little bit, and we did a lot of trials applying Soltellus in the fall on wheat. And what we've seen so far looks really good. We had increased tillering, and increased plant height, fall and spring. So on the left, those were measured in the spring, not in the fall. So our regrowth was faster. We had better tillering, which means more heads out there to harvest, and we had uh, very even and consistent head height where Soltellus was applied versus not. And really excited to see some of the results from this. Some of our NDVI imagery was looking really promising. That the tillering alone was huge from what we were seeing. And yeah, stay tuned. We're going to have some really fun results out of a fall applied wheat product for this. So we're looking forward to that. I want to go ahead and pass this on to Katie. Um, Katie, go ahead and take it away. Thank you guys, everybody, for listening to me, and let me know if there's anything I can do for you.
Thank you, Niles. Really enjoy seeing what you are in your neck of the woods. We are going to continue to share advantages across the country. Again, I am Katie Patterson and Regional Sales Manager located here in Northeast Kansas, and I work throughout the Midwest, the Plains, and the South. So we're going to head to a split trial that was near Fort Atkinson, Iowa. We're lucky because Nick Vandervoort, our agronomist, is not too far from here, so he was able to get a few extra looks. And they did a quart at planting, and you're seeing this here at 25 days after planting, and then they did another with the post herbicide. But the results and visuals here, many advantages, and you might not be able to read that, but many advantages over the control, from 15% increase in the average root weight, almost 30% increase of average top and total weight, and over 24% in the stalk diameter. We're going to move to a 45-day look at the next slide. And this was 45 days after planting, 14 days after the second application of another quart per acre. And on average, we're seeing about 5 inches taller. In the control, there's some striping that's going on. You don't see that where Soltellus was applied. The results are just overall better, a better, healthier plant, and turning those into some significant statistic results. So, all right, we're going to move further west. So we're going to Western Kansas, Southwest Kansas. It is an early growth stage. We're more behind, and then they've actually got some more moisture that they're not used to, so feeling even further behind, but they are still seeing some positive results here. So this was a 2 quart per acre in furrow, and as you can read here, seeing a larger stalk diameter, it's greener leaves and a more developed root system, and the producer did share that they saw earlier emergence. As you've heard, probably, why we help that plant get that jump start. So our big partner out there, he said, so far we are seeing these positive results where Soltellus has been applied in the plant and tissue sampling. And then based on Soltellus's mode of action with the chelation and the releasing of the nutrients throughout the season, they really expect to continue to see the positive results as we enter grain fill. So, all right. Now we're heading down south. It is very early in West Texas for cotton, okay? But we already saw some really beautiful things going on with Shun. But here's some of the beginning looks that we're seeing near Hill Center, Texas. They did a 1 quart per acre foliar. It was 2 leaf, but they are reporting overall biomass is noticeably more, better root development, so on and so forth. So we will be watching that and sharing more, of course, as we go through that. I'm gonna go to our family farm, actually. So we're corn, beans, cattle, put up a lot of hay and alfalfa. And so this was 2 quart per acre that was applied on our brome hay. We would have liked to put it on earlier, but we started out very, very dry and then it got wet. So it went on a little later, but consistently as we went out throughout the field, seeing it anywhere from 5 to 8 inches taller. And you can look down above it. I wanted to show that it was consistently thicker as well. And so after it's baled, can easily say an 8% increase conservatively. We also did alfalfa. On ours, we did 1 quart per acre. It was applied after the first cutting. So that first cutting is usually when you get the most, right? But however, the second cutting, we averaged 3.75 more bales than the first. And so we're waiting to see what the third cutting, how that turns out. So we'll be sharing more of that to you too. So want to end my time with you guys talking about some really exciting results for our alfalfa, in addition to what we saw on our own family farm. So this is up in Waterloo, Montana, and our agronomist can share even more with you. He's been up in the field. This is with his brother-in-law. They did, after it came out of dormancy, it was 3 to 5 inches tall, and they did a 2 quart per acre foliar application. And it turned out beautifully. So they were yielding a half a bale more per acre. And then this isn't just about your results when it comes to yield. It's beyond impressive for our dairies and feedlots. And we're not just talking about the ROI perspective, but the quality and how that translates into your increased protein, your digestibility, your increased milk production, and efficiency of the livestock, right? So if you go to the next slide, we're going to break it down a little bit more for you. And I know this is too hard to read, but I'll walk you through some of it, the Dairyland Laboratory results. So you're going to find, first of all, that Soltellus's advantage was we just had at least 2.3% increase in dry matter, okay? And we had almost a 2% higher crude protein. And quality really does matter for sure. So we're going to look at the relative feed value. That was increased by 17 points. And that just means a higher feed quality, better digestibility for that livestock. We're going to look at the RFQ. That's relative forage quality. That was up 16 points. Again, overall better quality, digestibility. It's more likely for that animal to readily consume it, and it helps to provide that greater nutritional value. And then we're going to move into total digestible nutrients. That's indicating a higher proportion of digestible nutrients. And how does that energy translate and directly impact the growth efficiency of that animal, increasing your milk production and the better animal reproduction, as well as the overall health as well too. And so really what can be shared here is that they generated 3.29 tons versus the untreated only doing 3. And so almost a third more. And as I said in the earlier slide, a half a bale more. And so then let's break that down just one more step. Okay, so $4.40 is the profit per acre that was based on this yield moisture differences, the hay price of $160 per ton. But that take into account the differences in hay quality, the feed value, and the animal production. Okay, so for example, RFQ value, that was 16 points increase. So that gives $1 per point more per ton per acre. So when you add that up and you look at the milk per ton differences, that's going to give you a profit of greater than $60 per acre after paying for the cost of Soltellus. So what a fun yield and ROI story for sure with how this did in alfalfa. So thanks for letting me share. If you ever have any questions, I'm here, and just love helping to the producers to get the biggest bang for their buck and help truly solve the issues that are going on with your farm. We're going to head west to our colleague out in California, Eric.
Thank you, Katie. And thank you all the participants that took time out of your busy day to join us. Hopefully so far you've seen the success that Soltellus is having just across the country and continuing into California with what we're visually seeing in some of the performance of the crops. I'm really excited, and you're really seeing the plant's ability to take up the nutrients and maximize those fertilizer apps and nutrients through better efficiency. In addition to that, in some of our trials, water is huge out west, as anyone knows, and it's getting more important across the country. And really, Soltellus is helping improve that overall water performance in distribution uniformity, and not just that, but holding more moisture in that root profile. And a big benefit is keeping, if it's going through the irrigation lines or equipment, reducing that scale buildup and keeping cleaner equipment longer, or cleaner irrigation lines longer. And then lastly, the big effects in the flexibility we bring with Sotellus is helping improve your overall soil health. And we're seeing this here. I'm really excited to what we're seeing now. And out west, we got a lot of specialty crops, and you're seeing not just with the row crops, but also the specialty crops. Now, when the applications went on this season, most of your current crop was already set for the season. But with the apps on the permanent crops, on the almonds and raisin grapes that I'm going to be chatting about here in a minute, you're really seeing the potential performance improvement. Both the almonds and the raisin grape trials going on were located in Madera County, and the corn silage trial in the middle bottom of the screen there is taking place in Merced County. And what's really exciting, working with the grower in the top right corner there, you see the almond buds circled on a particular leaf. We were walking in the orchard, and he's really, really excited because it's the largest newly formed buds, which is setting the crop up for next year, 2026, that he's ever seen at this time of the year in the season. And for those, participants, California can get pretty hot in the Central Valley. Typically, we're averaging upper 90s, sometimes depending upon the summer, as high as 110, 115. This is a little bit of a moderate summer, I'd say, but we've still had sustained temperatures, 100, 106 for the most part. To really see those bud formations is really, really exciting. And if you look into that picture a little closer, you'll notice the leaves are healthy. There's really no signs of nutrient deficiencies. You'll see a flatter leaf gaining more photosynthesis. Versus just below that, kind of an extreme example in the summer heat, that shows the leaves more wilted. And that is a particular branch that was kind of hanging off literally right on the edge of the dirt rights of way. Gets a lot of sun throughout the day. But overall, what we're seeing in the orchard, even at the tops of the canopy, just a flatter, more hydrated leaf, really, you know, we're working on the data, but I suspect that Sotellus applications are helping improve the nutrient use efficiency through that uptake of the orchard. In this case, it was a foliar app in the very end of April, and then weekly apps at a pint per week, amounting to about 64 ounces per acre through the soil, with the last application going in this week, roughly this week. So it's really exciting to see that and what we're capable of. Jumping over to the opposite side of the screen on the far left, in the top picture, you see Soltellus went out on May 22nd at a 64 ounces per acre with an application of KTS on this orchard. And the grower and I we're really seeing a thicker, denser canopy, but not just the improvement of the uniform berry sizes that you kind of can see in that picture, but if you look even closer on the foliage, it's not just a denser canopy, but all of that older leaf growth. For the most part, you're seeing that dark green leaf, uniform nutrient efficiency, very little signs of nutrient deficiency. And so a lot of those leaves are shaded throughout the day versus the control below it. You can see right away just kind of a thinner canopy. In addition to some of the yellowing leaves, we're seeing much more kind of signs of nutrient deficiency potentially in the leaves. And so you're really seeing that effect on plant health and on the permanent crops. I'm excited. We might not affect the overall total yield, but should be with the effects we're seeing with a little bigger berry sizes. And I'm really excited because I think we're going to be showing that we affect the overall quality of that crop for this season's applications. Really exciting to set up those crops for next year. And then in the middle bottom of the screen, an application just recently went out in a kind of a late planted corn silage trial. And it, it was an application side dressed a half gallon per acre. No fertilizer was applied, just solely Sotellus. And you can see literally The app was put out on July 11th in the afternoon, immediately irrigated with 50% lagoon water and 50% well water. And I almost couldn't believe it. So the control there, you see, it's kind of hard to see, but it's an average 2 to 2.5 feet of length and overall growth on the control. But the Soltellus app, literally 7 days later, was double the size. It was 4 to just over 4 feet throughout the production of that treated plot. And not just in length, but also you could definitely see a clear difference in the sizing of the stalk. So it's really excited to see these results. Again, I thank you for your time. If you've got any questions, feel free to reach out anytime, and I'll turn it over to our Director of Sales, Nick Spoden, to wrap us up here.
Thank you, Eric, and everyone else. Thank you to the full team. You guys heard it first. Hopefully, you were able to take down their contact information as well. These are the experts. I mean, they have seen every possible angle that we could throw at this polymer, and it's holding, as y'all can see as well. So, I definitely urge you to reach out to the team. Great resource as we continue to learn and grow together as a community. Right? That's what this is all about. We're going to wrap up here and get into some Q&A. My apologies for not calling this out earlier in the call, but please put in your questions into our Q&A button that we've got at the bottom of the screen here. We'll dive into them in a couple of minutes and go over as many as we can. That way we can take the most of the team that we got in hand. So wanted to give everybody a little bit bigger look here as well, what we're getting into this year. Team of 7, and these folks are on the move. So not only in addition to the partners that we're working with, but really trying to understand the mechanisms here. How is Soltellus responding? How can it be applied? We get asked all the time, when is the preferred timing? When's the preferred application? And we always like to say, hey, at this point, we're holding a consistent 2 to 6x. So a lot of it we want to put also back into your control. Where's a gap that you believe you have in your program that you think that we can add on some quality? Because we think that across the board we've got it right now. So stay tuned. Obviously, heading into the winter here, when more of these trials start wrapping up, we're going to have a lot of data to throw at you with more webinar series to come. But again, super excited and very thankful for everything the team's been doing so far. Speaking of thankful, we can't wrap without calling out all the partners that we've been working with, not only growers, but our retailers, as we've got listed here. Been a heck of a lot of fun seeing the growth, the excitement, and the interest in Soltellus over the last year, 2 years for that matter, since our commercial launch. But speaking of experts, I mean, this is it, right? This is the team. This is the local network that we've built to be able to support y'all. So please do lean on them. You can scan our QR code. That'll bring you directly to our website where you can reach out to these partners. A lot of knowledge there beyond just Soltellus. Again, let's grow together as a community. That's what we're focused on, and that's what we hope that we're achieving to you. So yeah, without any further delay, big thank you again that everybody joined here, and let's get into some Q&A while we still have a little bit of time and hopefully a good chunk of the group left here. All right, bear with me. Always fun trying to navigate some of these systems and get to where we need to. Okay, I think we found them. All right, so how many acres are you able to produce for currently? I think I can jump on that one and get ahead of it. Right now, we're very very well positioned from a product standpoint as far as availability. But just talking about the growth, and again, the team, you've seen it here, where all we've been. Last year we were out on about 20,000 acres, and this year we're up to about 250,000 for that matter. So we have got plenty of product. We're here to support you every which way we can, and again, lean on those partners that we've got in the area as well. Great network. So. Know that they've got product as well as the knowledge that we can get this product out in the field and hopefully some successes locally. All right, looks like we've got another question here on co-application with other live biologicals and witnessed any impact or synergistic effects. So I think this one I'm going to tag in our team, and I think I'll look at it for Niles for some input on this one. I know you've seen it quite a few ways with different biologicals. How do you feel that we're responding, Niles, and maybe give us a peek on that action that you were talking, that dual mode?
Yeah. So everything that we've been seeing, so a lot of these guys moved to these biologicals that we were testing with because when they were doing their yield studies and the root digs and things, same things that we've been doing, right? The untreated without the biological versus with the biological, they saw the physiological differences they wanted to see, and then they saw the yield gains they wanted to see. They moved forward with that product. What we're seeing is instead of basically that stalling out when we're putting Sotellus in with that biological, we're still adding to that root development, to that physiological change of that crop. So what we are seeing there is essentially we're helping hold the nutrients that biological is either fixing, freeing up, things like that, as we continue to also free up nutrients, hold nutrients by through their chelation activity. And then as our polymer starts to break down and biodegrade, as Nick Vandervoort mentioned earlier in at the very beginning of our webinar here, as that starts to degrade, it starts to basically break back down into those individual links of aspartate, which are then stimulating and feeding and further driving that biology that we were placed with at the beginning, right? So we're definitely adding to the program from what we've seen, and a lot of our guys and a lot of the people who are trialing them together seem to be extremely pleased and extremely happy with what they're seeing as we tend to kind of drive some of the efficiency of the live biological application of what we've been being applied with. So
Great answer. Yeah. Thank you, Niles, very much for that one. Got another one that's similar, and I'm actually going to kind of tag team this one with my colleague Eric out west because I know that fungicides, pesticides, he knows a heck of a lot about that. So, specific trials with biological fungicides, what are we seeing? To me, I think that one of the things that Eric hit on pretty well was the water quality side, right? So tell us being so multifunctional, multifaceted in what it can do. We talked about the chelation. Niles just hit on the feed. But the other big part of all this, obviously, is making sure that we've got the proper balance in the water that we're putting out. Eric, what do you got going on there? How you feeling on herbicides, pesticides in the world that we got going?
Yeah, no, I think just in my experience, I think there's definitely a lot of potential that Sotellus potentially could bring to that. I know that that's probably will be a much heavier area of research for R&D for our company, especially as we grow out and build out some pretty exciting developments within our company, bringing on dedicated agriculture R&D folks. I suspect in my own experience that Sotellus could help synergize and collaborate, not from pesticidal effects, but just the beneficial fertility aspect that Sotellus brings to that package. Hopefully building that stronger plant, right? And that so that biological fungicide or any fungicide isn't having to work as hard with healthier plants when you're putting out proactive systemic fungicides and whatnot. So hopefully that answers your question.
That's perfect, Eric. Yeah, thank you. And I think another thing that we want to hit on here is recommended rate for Soltellus, $2 or 2 quarts, half gallon per acre. But you've also heard quite a few of the colleagues mention we're seeing good success at 1 quart applications as well. So these are some that we're actually mixing into the herbicide and fungicide passes and finding quite a bit of a success, whether that's at the 1 or the 2 quart rate. And that was another good question that I'm actually going to segue into. Where do application rates typically plateau? And what we've seen from a single dose application, typically around a gallon, once we start pushing up there from a ROI standpoint, it really seems to kind of flatline out there. And again, that's just a single application because if we think about that polymer degradation period, as Nick Vandervoort mentioned, 28 to about 40 days is the half-life. So 90 days we're gone. Thinking about when that plant needs the uptake of the nutrients as Sotellus starts degrading in time and then hitting it with a second shot seems to be a good success pattern that we're seeing right now with a lot of our partners. Let's see, we've got Canada. This is a great question as well. Are we registered for use in Canada? At the moment, we are not, but we are very excited about the opportunity to work with more partners up there. We're running a lot of trials this year, both row and specialty crops. So we'll have some data coming in from our colleagues up north, and would love to work with you all a little bit more as well. All right, so I think I've got one here. I'm going to bring in Nick Vandervoort, the agronomist, on. Great question for him. Have you as a team been able to get more farmers to understand the importance of increasing soil health after they see the improvement in crops?
Yeah, so soil health is really just a huge buzz phrase and has been for years. But soil health I've found means different things to different farmers at different times. But the overall benefit as it links to sustainability of the farming operation, of the productivity, of the profitability, yeah, farmers are more and more dialed into that. And so talking about that as it relates to Soltellus does resonate with those folks. It's not just all agronomic benefits, it's sustainability benefits, soil health benefits, and just long-term productivity of the soils. I think we play in all of those segments.
Thank you, Nick. So here's another fun one, and I'm going to bring this one over to Frankie. Aside from specialty and row crops down in your area, turf being a big network out there, how are you guys impacting there? Or have you guys looked at trials from the turf standpoint?
Yeah, so great question. Turf is obviously something that we see in completely different forms all across the country. In Southeast, you're going to see in like the lawn and landscape type area, the turf is going to be, your warm season grasses, similar for golf, a lot of your Bermuda cultivars, your Tifways, 419s, etc. So we're trying it on golf courses both as a foliar spray as well as through irrigation. I think we're going to see a lot of success with the irrigation type applications. We're looking at getting it applied on lawns as well. Trying to find the best fit there. I think it would probably go well in a typical foliar type spray with other products as well. And those are really the two main facets are going to be the finely managed turf and then your more lawn and landscape. From a commercial sod perspective, I think it'll be beneficial probably, depending on the operation. I mean, some folks are going to sprig in, some people are going to be going cutting and doing ribbons. So it really just depends on your area. But I think that main growing period after harvest on ribbons and right after sprigging, I think are going to be probably our two best applications because you're going to be seeing continued root growth come back in, and I think it's going to help accelerate that early on. How you start's how you finish.
Love it, Frankie. And actually, let's take that a step further, and I'm gonna tap Katie in on this one because water is definitely her world out in Kansas. Foliar products and even Brewer comes to mind, partner of ours. Katie, what are we seeing with applying foliar products, and how is Soltellus working there?
Absolutely. So the foliar applications are, it's really good when you're able to split it, as we mentioned before, and we are seeing, it's impacting the microbes that are on that plant, and it's help feeding them. So it's not just the in-furrow, it is that foliar piece as well, and feeding the microbes on the leaves. And so we we know that we love it in furrow, but as we continue to show you guys, there is definitely that play for the foliar, whether it's herbicide, fungicide. We know that there were even some last year that were applied in August at Podfill on some soybeans, and they got almost a 10 bushel increase. So when we talk about timing, what do you need on your farm? And how are we going to not create extra passes, but it can get a free ride in the field. But yes, there's still that play for the foliar for sure. And I'm glad that Eric covered some of the irrigation piece because there is definitely a lot of that. And when we know that it can help hold on to that water, and attract it a little bit more to help through any of those environmental stressors, especially when it does get so hot and dry the end of August, or the end of July into August. That's going to really help us with that fill, that grain fill, that pod fill, so on and so forth.
That's perfect, Katie. Yeah, and I think another one I've, just in the touch of it, right, and slight viscosity to it, enough stickiness, so almost like a surfactant, right? So we talk about cohesiveness, or how are we working, right? So tell us with other products. And I think that there's definitely an opportunity when we look at the synergistic effect of some of these products and how can we look to really capitalize off of them together. So I look at it twofold, right? But that's definitely a way to look at it as well. Um, Another good one that we've got that came in is on the biological stability. Um, how does it impact with the stabilization in the tank if mixed together, and do any of those impact actually the half-life? I think from a half-life standpoint, we more so see the degradation occurring with different soil types, acidic versus alkaline. So the higher acidic is when it's tending to go a little bit quicker at this stage, and that's why we like that range of the 28 to 40 day half-life. As far as stabilization, though, we've got very good compatibility in the tank with the biologicals. So that has been the positive there. No stripping. We see a very good rate right now with going out with the application, and obviously the return has been significant there for us as well. All right, we're going to try to give her another 4 minutes, and then we'll cut at the hour, if that's all right. But again, make sure that you've taken a picture. Hopefully, gotten a contact that you're able to reach out to locally in your area. Glad to help you all a little bit more on this. Have we been able to see anything around improved soil hydraulic function, aggregate stability, water holding capacity? And I think this is a great one for me. Again, we talk about the multifaceted functions that Soltellus can bring. Hydroscopic capabilities is a big one that we talk about, and really creating that foundation, the factory, and not only the plant, right, in the root, but also in the rhizosphere. We know that Soltellus is able to really set up and prime that environment for success. So that's kind of how we look at it there. But obviously, on reducing the community impacts with flooding, leaching. We all know the talks there, and that is something that we're very confident in with Soltellus, and we'll have more heading into the winter here. Let's see here. So let's go into impact on potassium uptake in forages. That's actually a great question and something that we really wanted to highlight a little bit more here. Soltellus, as we've mentioned, is a multifunctional polymer. You keep hearing that over and over again. What does that mean? It gives us the ability to potentially manipulate it in time, bringing in different derivatives, adding different nutrients into this. It's very strong. So we can move different molecular weights higher or lower. There's a lot that really can be done to tweak this, and that's what we're focused on. Again, if you remember in the beginning, talking about being your specialty solution provider. On the agriculture side, we're really dialed in right now on amino acids, and that's something we see a lot of benefits to be able to build off of, starting again with our aspartic acid in Soltellus. I am going to try to get through one more as quick as we can here. We've got quite a few others that I know we haven't hit, so my apologies if we haven't gotten to everybody, and please do reach out. Any different types? Niall's going to come at you with this. Any different witnessed on different tillage types as far as row crops? What have we been seeing across the board there? And we've got about a minute, bud. Yeah, I'm mute, Niles.
A lot of similar things, right? But different tillage types. Oh, it says my internet's unstable. Can you hear me now? All
Barely.
right,
You're all right,
sorry.
buddy.
So I've been seeing a lot of similar root growth and root development, and a lot of similar things in different soil types and tillage types. Obviously, deeper tillage, softer dirt. We've seen a lot deeper root growth, things like that. And a few no-till situations where we had some compaction at that seed wall, or at the sidewall, we were able to bust through some of that, and some that we saw. So where we had some tomahawking so far, we were able to kind of bust through and mitigate some of that. But we've seen a lot of similar physiological
as Niles was saying there, we've seen a lot of similar responses, regardless good or
Definitely
challenging
had people
soil
pairing
types.
like some stalk digesters in, till
And it looks like we lost Niles. And before we lose everybody else, thank you again to everybody who has joined here. Really look forward to having a great
Yep.
rest of the year and wishing you all the same. Appreciate you, and please do reach out if there's anything we can do to help. Thank you.